The Economic Freedom Fighters in KwaZulu-Natal says it prides itself on its growth and support amongst the electorate. The party grew from 64 councillors in the province during the 2016 municipal elections to 164 councillors during last year's municipal elections. The party is holding its provincial elective conference in Durban. Party leader Julius Malema is addressing the conference. On that note, let's take you live there.
It is you, the KZN leadership, that gave us a lot of votes in the previous elections when the many doomsayers did not expect us to emerge in KwaZulu-Natal. You have demonstrated under your leadership, KwaZulu-Natal, that the EFF is not an organization of a particular tribe or province, that it is a national organization that exists in all corners of South Africa. We know today that KZN is the hope of the EFF and the people of South Africa when it comes to 2024. You have defeated tribalism. You have shown them that ours is not a tribal card, but a national question to address the oppression of the African people in general. We don't care what language they speak. We don't care where they come from. We are in an agenda to restore the dignity of an African child, irrespective of where they are found. You have made a miracle, even when they refused us to campaign in the hostels, even when they refused us to campaign in the rural areas, even where the IFP wanted to threaten us. You went on your own without bodyguards. You broke new grounds and brought new votes into the EFF and showed the whole of South Africa that it is possible. Comrades, you do so because you know that a black life matters. You want an organization that is going to look after black people. You want an organization that will stand up for black people. You want an organization that will say what happened in Phoenix is nothing else but a hatred of African people by the minority Indians and whites who were killing our people senselessly without any recourse. We speak today following the July riots in KwaZulu-Natal. No one has been held accountable even after killing our people. They roam the streets freely. They do as they wish because they do not regard a black life as a life that is worth living. Where do they get this strength from? Where they go around killing black people without any action taken against them? They get it from killing Chris Hani in 1993. They killed Chris in a senseless murder, and there were no consequences. No revolution followed after the killing of Commissar Mkhonto Wesizwe. No action followed following the killing of Chief of Staff of the People's Glorious Army. And once they killed Chris, they got confidence that if you kill black people, there are no consequences. That's why they proceeded to kill our people in Marikana. Nothing happened. No single person has lost a job. No single person has been arrested. The widows are still waiting for the answers as to what happened to their husbands, because their husbands are black and African and their life do not matter. If anything, a person who encouraged the killing of the workers of Marikana was elevated into the position of president, thanking him for having encouraged the killing of African people. Following the Marikana massacre, Phoenix followed till to date. No one has been held accountable. No one has lost a job. No one has been questioned about why did you engage in the senseless killing of our people. Our people were stopped on the roads. They were searched in Umhlanga, in Town, in Phoenix, in Balito, everywhere else where black people were passing during the July riots. Women were harassed by white Indian racists, and nothing till to date followed those who harassed our people. If anything, Ramaphosa supported them and congratulated them for having defended their own suburbs against black people. Where was the EFF? Why didn't the EFF visit these people in defense of black people? What did the EFF do to respond to the killing of Africans? Because no killing must be responded to through exchange of roses. The violent people only understand the language of violence. And that when violence is meted against black Africans, we must never respond with peaceful means. Violence must be met with violence. And violence can only be resolved by violence. We must never be scared of those who unleash violence on African people. They must know that our peaceful means to democracy and economic freedom does not equate to cowardice. We are not cowards. We are peaceful. We seek justice. But those who take our peacefulness for granted will know us for who we are. We will make them meet their maker before their time arrives, because we will not be silenced through violence in our own country. Comrades, we are tired of being shot and killed in our country, and when we ask, they say they mistaken us for baboons in our own country. Children get killed because they are accused of stealing meal or all manner of things in the farms, yet there is no radical response to those who kill our people. Comrades, if anything, they are trying by all means to silence the radicalism and the militancy of our people. They want to stop revolutionary songs. They want to suspend and destroy everything that demonstrates the heroism of black people. If we allow them to silence revolutionary songs, you must be guaranteed that one day we are going to wake up and will be told the name Shaka Zulu resembles violence and therefore should no longer be called in South Africa. By so doing, they will reclaim and rename all the airports and everything else that we have named after our heroes. The names and songs that resembles the apartheid murderers, the songs and names that resembles the oppression of black people have not been removed anywhere. If anything, this stem, which was sang during the killing of black people, is part of the national anthem. If anything, Verwoerd, Malan, and everybody else who was commanding the apartheid racist regime in the brutalization of black people, those names are still there being celebrated. But anything that reminds us of who we are and which battles we fought and how we have emerged victorious in those battles, they want to destroy, because they don't want a black person to know where you come from. They want to tell you about you. They want to tell you about your own history, because if you are taught the correct history of the black nation, all of you will rise and defend the gains of those who came before us. Comrades, the people of Umkhanya are being removed from their land. Racists are controlling water schemes. Electricity is unreliable. There is nothing that is given to black people without a hassle. Yet we call this a land of our forefathers. We must, through this organization, build a strong, formidable force which will ensure that our black people are proud of who they are and do not regard themselves as subjects of colonialism and imperialism. The EFF is the spear in the hands of the conquered nation of black people, and this spear must never be destroyed by anyone. Comrades, when you engage in factionalism, wanting to destroy this spear in the hands of the poorest of the poor, remember all those people who are losing their animals in KwaZulu-Natal because they went into a white farm for grazing. And the white farmer found those animals and took them because they came grazing in his farm without a permit. You must know that those people who lost those animals are looking for the EFF to go and reclaim back those animals. If you destroy this organization, remember that there are a lot of people in Umgeni municipality who are looking for clinics, and there are no clinics, and those are going to have clinics that open 24 hours. They are waiting for the EFF to arrive with those clinics that are going to open for 24 hours. But those clinics will never arrive if we come to this conference and engage in factional arrangement and destroy the only truck that is carrying the clinics that must be delivered in Umgeni that are going to open for 24 hours. You must know, as you engage in factional activities and in groups and choosing each other, that the youth of South Africa is waiting out there, not for who is leading the EFF, but for what is the EFF resolution when it comes to the unemployment of young people of South Africa. A lot of young people have graduated and do not have jobs. If anything, many of them are beneficiaries of 350, which does not restore their dignity. So they are waiting eagerly as to what are the resolutions of the EFF KwaZulu-Natal People's Assembly. Many of us commit a problem of the ANC of thinking conference is about leaders and that conference is about singing and that conference is about getting t-shirts of the Third People's Assembly. But none of us has got a sponsored resolution that you will say when you leave here, I am happy the EFF adopted the resolution to put free sanitary towels in all offices of the EFF, which are not many, by the way, are just 11 offices in KwaZulu-Natal. You go around saying you want free sanitary towels to be given to students, to be given to poor people in the communities. But in your package of this KwaZulu-Natal People's Assembly, there are no free sanitary towels in the bag that you are giving to delegates. So charity begins at home. You haven't even noticed that there are no sanitary towels. You haven't even noticed that there are no condoms because you are obsessed with who is going to lead the EFF in KwaZulu-Natal. That's what you came here for. But leadership is nothing without resolution, because there must be resolution. Therefore, then leadership. So that the leadership you elect, you look at what type of resolutions have we taken and who is fit to implement these resolutions. But the obsession with names. In the ANC, when you want to talk about politics and engage in the prevailing material conditions and what are the balance of forces, after a long presentation trying to persuade people on which direction to look at, They don't respond with a political response. After you have spoken about Fakugama, Baba, Fakigam, they don't want to hear politics. Now, you can't replace the ANC if you do the same things of the ANC. You cannot replace a tendency with the same tendency. You ought to come with an alternative solutions to what you think are the problems. And SG, this thing of you guys not sleeping in conferences, I don't agree with it. Because if you can't sleep, you can't think. So you need to rest. You need to rest. So that you wake up in the morning with fresh ideas and give direction as to where the EFF must go. So we don't want you to come here and sit the whole night and the following day we want resolutions. There are no resolutions because half of the conference is sleeping. So conferences of the EFF must be known as a festival of ideas, not as a battle for factions, not as a battleground for factions, but as a place where Marxism, Leninism, and Fanon are going to be practicalized. Because without any theory, a soldier who carries a gun without a political theory is a potential criminal. So we don't want you to come here and you have no political theory except sloganeering and factionalism. Because the vanguard party of the left will never be built by the people who do not even know what constitutes a working class. Because we first have to know who are we representing. We can only know that through Marx's theory of negation of negation. We have to know the law of dialectics in order for us to have the means to analyze the prevailing conditions in society. In the absence of Marx's theory, we will never understand what is the problem in eThekwini municipality. That's why we will surrender power to political criminals, because we have no theory to distinguish between thuggerism and radicalism. Others confuse thuggerism for radicalism. There is nothing revolutionary about anarchy. And many people think anarchy is the revolution. Anarchy is the highest form of disorder. And revolution is led. And disorder will never be led. A disorder people do as they wish. And we are not an anarchist organization. We are a revolutionary organization guided by revolutionary theory of dialectics, which must always find resonance when we meet together like this as the EFF. Today, we don't hear more about what's going to happen in the ANC conference except who must be the president of the ANC. President of the ANC to do what? They've given up. The only thing they know is positions. Why? They want to be councillors. They want to be mayors. Some of you are standing in this conference because you think you are going to be a councillor. You even forgot that we dealt with councillors last year. The matter is closed. You are too late to stand if you want to become a councillor. We have councillors already. So do not kill people for non-existing ambition, which will not be realized until 2026. By that time, we would have been to another Provincial People's Assembly. So save yourself from possible embarrassment by waiting for 2026, where you'll stand, maybe become a councillor as well. But for now, you are going to stand wanting to be a councillor and expose yourself. Comrades, the country has collapsed. We are on an autopilot. We don't know where the pilot is. Those who have the rumor say the pilot is at Phala Phala, sailing buffaloes and uncle. That's why the plane does not have a pilot. When you are a president of South Africa, by law, you are not allowed to do any other business except to be a president of South Africa. Why? Because you are a pilot. You can't be a pilot at the same time in the same plane, be an air hostess and sell Zimbas in the plane and leave the plane leaderless because you are busy selling Zimbas. Your president told you that he sometimes leaves the seat of a pilot and goes and become an air hostess and sells Zimbas. So we are looking for a pilot because our pilot is no more. How can a president admit to have put dollars and dollars of rands under the mattress and that person still spend 24 hours in the office after admitting to have had dollars under the mattress? Such thuggerism. Ungathi sebenza nam umuntu oshayela ama-taxi. Uyachekisha every afternoon. He checks the money and put under the mattress. And when they steal the money from him, he doesn't go to police station. He goes and calls other taxi drivers to go and look for the other one who stole from him. What type of a president do we have in South Africa who leaves the office to go and sell uncle? Let's say the money is not stolen. That's fine. It's his money. He says he made money during the sales of uncle and buffalo. When he was selling uncle and buffalo, who was the president of South Africa during that time? You have a president who tells you that I sometimes leave this seat to do other things, and you don't release him or no. Go and do those things freely. We want a full-time president. We don't want a part-time president. Because by law, the president must not do any other job except being the president of South Africa. That's why are they not allowed to do other business? This country is too big to have a part-time president. Because we've got an absent president, Transnet has collapsed. Because there's no one to look after Transnet. PRASA has collapsed. SABC is running on autopilot. The municipalities, all of them without fail, have collapsed. If they pay salaries, the municipalities, they can't pay Eskom. Today, we have no electricity in South Africa because Eskom has collapsed. Why? The president is nowhere to be found. He is busy cleaning after the poo-poo of uncle in a kraal. So, you expect to have a country without a president and still think you can get jobs. You expect to have a country and have the economy grow without the president. You expect this body of yours to function without a head. Have you ever seen a headless chicken? What it does? That's where we are now. This country has become a headless chicken. It has got no direction unless the EFF wakes up in KwaZulu-Natal and we take KwaZulu-Natal and we take the whole of South Africa and redirect this country to a proper destination. If we don't do that, I can tell you now, South Africa will not be worth living in it. These people that you have insulting, saying Zimbabweans, saying Nigerians, saying all manner of things, you are next. Your country is going to become another failed state. And when this country becomes another failed state, you are going to live here into other people's countries to look for greener pastures. We must stop that. South Africa must still prosper, and it must prosper without the ANC. Nothing will happen if the ANC gets out of power. Mandela was in power. Mandela left power. The country continued. Mbeki came, left. Zuma came, left. Ramaphosa will leave soon. This country must still go forward under the capable leadership of the EFF, and no one will give this country a proper direction except the leadership of the EFF. Comrades, we will never get a changed country if we still have parties that are in power and they are controlled by the Oppenheimer family. Today, when Mazzotti gives the EFF 200,000 to register as a political party, they flag him as a politically exposed person. They close his accounts because he gave the EFF 200,000. But the Oppenheimer family gives the DA 15 million, gives Action SA 10 million. They are not flagged as politically exposed person because they gave DA, ANC, Action SA money. But once you give EFF money, which is a constitutional political party, third largest in South Africa, they treat you the same way they treat terrorists. So you can see that all these electoral laws, all these initiatives is to stop the EFF. Why are they stopping the EFF? A white lady answered in one of the interviews, the EFF is the only party which will do what it says it will do, and which is the expropriation of land without compensation. They know the EFF will do that. They know that the EFF does not make commitments. It does not make promises. It makes commitments. When the EFF in UKZN says it's going to fight for free education and get all our children into school, if they don't have money to register or they have money to register, as long as they qualify, they will put them into school. All campuses of UKZN vote the EFF Student Command. Why? They know the EFF does not just talk. They are going to do what they said they are going to do. So when we say we're going to take the mines and give them to our people, the Oppenheimers hear us very well. When we say we're going to establish a state-owned bank, the Oppenheimers hear us very well. And that's why they are doing everything in their power to stop the EFF. Every law is aimed at ensuring that the EFF does not succeed in South Africa. Why? The EFF is the only revolutionary organization left in South Africa. There is no any other revolutionary organization that is scared of by white monopoly capital except the EFF. Not even RET forces in the ANC scare white monopoly capital than the EFF. The EFF is the only party that will restore the land in the hands of our people. The EFF is the only party that will make sure that the dignity of domestic workers in eThekwini and everywhere else are restored. Today, all black elite who pretend to hate the EFF When they fight with their bosses, they mention the EFF. That if you don't do 1, 2, 3, we are going to call the EFF. Because they know that the EFF is the only thing a white man is scared of in South Africa. Why? The EFF is not in the pockets of white monopoly capital and has never taken money from reactionaries in South Africa. Comrades, we have passed a bill in Parliament to welcome independent candidates in 2024. Now, these NGOs say no, the bill is not what they wanted. We don't exist according to NGOs. We exist according to the mandate given to us by our electorate. The Constitutional Court said we must allow independence, and we have done exactly that. So 2024 elections is going to be a difficult election because some of you who are here, my water SG, some of you who are here are going to be independent candidates, by the way. Especially those who go to conferences and lose, and when they lose, they think we owe them something. So be ready. People are going to lose conferences and are going to be independent candidates. And that independent candidate is going to make our ballot paper the longest ballot paper in the history of elections. It is not going to be an easy election. So when you live here, please prepare yourself to fight against the people you have been with in the EFF for a very long time. Because others are nothing else but opportunists who are prepared to destroy a political party in the name of personal interest. Why do you want to lead at all costs? Why do you think if it's not you, the EFF is dead? Because others have lost here. They are going to be saying, I feel the EFF is dead, I'm telling you. Because when you are not elected, EFF is dead. Because you are the EFF. You confuse EFF with your microwave. You think EFF is one of your kitchen equipment. EFF is not a family matter. It's a national matter and does not belong to any individual. If you are right, let me tell you, contesting is not a declaration of war. It's democracy in action. There is nothing wrong with contesting. Sometimes you must do it even when you know you are going to lose, to test whether democracy is still working in the EFF or not. Harry Gwala wanted to contest who? Mandela. Was it Mandela? In the first conference. And when they asked for seconders, he got only one hand or two seconding him. And they asked him and said, why did you contest even when you knew you were going to lose? He said, I wanted to teach the future generation that there is democracy in the ANC, that no one is born for position in this organization. So today you have lost. Because the majority said you must not lead. It's a democratic decision that must be respected. Because in the EFF we lead through democratic centralism. A decision of the higher structure is binding on lower structures. Now this higher structure has taken a decision and said Monges will lead. Whether you like it or you don't like it, you must respect democratic centralism. And let me tell you, majority can also be wrong. It doesn't mean because I'm voted by the majority, it means they are right. The majority can be wrong because majority is always wrong there in parliament called the ANC, yet is in majority. What do we do when the majority is wrong? Do we throw the baby out with the water? No. Because we are defeated democratically, wrong as they are, we are going to support them. But we'll continue to advocate for this idea from within the structures of the organization until the day they realize we were right. Do not choose your friends to lead with you. Because leadership that is meant out of friendship is going to fail. Tomorrow, we must go to the War Council. Me and Marshall were friends. We go drinking at Max's place. When we arrive at the War Council, there are no minutes. When I say to the Secretary General, where are the minutes? Or you know where we were yesterday. Once you don't have the minutes, that is the beginning of the degeneration of the organization, and it will die a natural death. Let me teach you. The criteria we use to elect leadership is not whether am I speaking to that person or not. It's not whether am I friend to that person or not. I can hate you personally. We can fight over a boy or a girlfriend. It doesn't matter when it comes to election of leadership. What matters is, does this person love the EFF? When we call for putting up posters, does this person come? When we do door to door, does this person come? When we ask for reports, does this person report and reports honestly about the work done? If this person ticks all the boxes, even if I don't like this person, I must just say shame. We're turn the EFF shame. Let's elect him. On the basis of that, why do you want to elect the people on the basis of proximity to them? Why do you want to elect people even when you know that they've got no qualities of leadership? Why do you want to destroy the investment you have made in other leaders? Why is one conference replacing the other conference? What happens to institutional memory? What happens to the investment we've made in individuals? Because every election means ushering in of new people out of jealousy and nothing political. Are we going to have new leaders every time we meet? Or are we going to invest in the leadership of the EFF that is tried and tested, that knows the weaknesses of our organization and is prepared to build from that? In Western Cape,
Well, a very good afternoon to you. We step out of that address. Of course, that was EFF's Julius Malema delivering his closing remarks to party members at the 3rd Provincial People's Assembly, the KZN elective conference, which kicked off on Friday. He's made very strong remarks early on in his speech around last year's July 2021 July unrest, making specific reference to Phoenix and how many black people were targeted and, killed during that violence. He's also touched on the Phala Phala saga, saying that South Africa is being led by an absent president. Of course, the party elected new leaders. We'll bring you all the very latest from that EFF conference.